13 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed?
No.
Item carries. Councilmember Brown voting no.
14 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed?
No.
Item carries. Councilmember Brown voting no.
Item 15 is an ordinance.
I'm going to recognize Councilmember Pennington for a procedural motion to dispense with 15 through 51. Councilmember Pennington?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for recognizing me. I move to delay further consideration of those items 15, 15A, 15B, and 15-1 for 2 weeks so that these matters may be presented and discussed at a public committee meeting prior to May 15. And I would appreciate a second to that motion.
Second.
Discussion of the motion to delay. Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Favoring, opposed, motion carries. 2-week delay and the necessary committee meeting. Councilmember Costello.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We have scheduled a special budget fiscal affairs meeting to discuss this item next Tuesday at 10 o'clock in council chambers.
Thank you very much.
Tuesday, May 7th. 7th.
Okay, item 16 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
17 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
23 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries. Councilmember Brown voting no.
24 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed,
No.
item carries. Councilmember Brown voting no.
30 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. And just regarding our annual budget, year after year, we tend to be spending more than we take in, accumulating a great big deficit of $2.5 billion in the city of Houston, and so we need to be watching that. Here we have an increase in our expenditures of $18.2 million.
Further discussion. Moving to vote. Favoring, opposed.
No.
Item carries. Councilmember Brown voting no.
Item 34 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
34A is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
36 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
36A is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
38 is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
38A is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
Okay, that completes the items on the consent agenda under matter of health. I may have numbered the backups for the matter of health. I'm going to briefly state what they are. Item 40 is the creating the Cyrus One LLC tax collection reinvestment fund. It is an ordinance.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
40A is approving the tax abatement agreement for the Cyrus One.
Discussion. Favoring, opposed, item carries.
41 is connecting with professional services contract with Ron Smith Associates. It is an ordinance.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem Bradley.
Thank you, County Mayor. After last week, I spewed a little gasoline concerning this particular item, and I want to just say kudos and a big thanks to Chief Tim Lockmeyer. He came by the office and spent some time to sit down and answer specifically and very detailed all of my questions and concerns. So I want to just go on record and say thanks to Chief Lockmeyer and HPD for coming by and doing it, and thanks to Mark for making it happen. I'll be fully supporting this item. Thank you, County.
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. This item for the record is the latent processing work, a contract of almost $16 million being increased by almost $5 million. I'll be voting no.
Further discussion? Moving to a vote, I'm sorry, Councilmember Davis.
Yes, one question. If we do not continue with this contract, increasing the contract, what are the effects?
Ron Smith and Associates has in effect cornered the market in this area. One of the charges that the new Forensic Science Center has is to bring this expertise in-house, to hire label print examiners and at a salary level that we can keep them from being hired away. But we really don't have any other options.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Gonzalez.
Councilmember, if I could too, I just want to point out that this has a major impact on public safety. Violent crimes are handled upon receipt, and property crimes are processed within 30 days. So, absent of that, we would simply be creating more backlogs that would have to be addressed down the road regardless. So, we've got to make sure we're making this investment and moving forward. I do hope that we get to a day that we can transition away from Ron Smith, obviously, and being able to do it in-house through an independent process through our Forensic Center, but we're not there yet. It's been an ongoing process that HPD came to us, a few years back and proactively said there were some issues that needed to be addressed, and as the mayor stated, Ron Smith was the only one at the time that can handle the capacity, the issues that we had, or needs that we had, so that's why the previous council and this one has continued to move this forward, but it does have impacts on crime simply because these prints have to be processed as part of everyday crime fighting.
Vice Mayor Pro Tem Bradford.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say to my colleague, Councilmember Brown, that there's merit to what you're saying. The contract has been extended about 7 times. Nonetheless, at this point in time, this is the most vital thing to do. As has been said, there are backlogs of latent prints that has to be examined. They're doing a pretty good job of catching up the backlog. At the same time, there are prints coming in every day. It has to be processed for ongoing cases that are there. This approval today will allow us to maintain a course of action through December of next year. And you've just heard Chairman Scottsburg testify that they're in the process of trying to move forward with getting an executive director or CEO on board to help put a long-range plan of action in place. You also heard him say that the executive director will probably spend 50, 60 hours a week trying to do just this piece of the equation. So this is an activity I think is necessary at this point in time to keep the forensic processing of evidence in the city of Houston from becoming one of those kind of front page issues that it was 10 years or so ago. And this is a good move as it relates to the latent print piece of it under the umbrella of the total laboratory over there. But I am looking forward to that broad plan as to how we're going to deal with the big issue, because one thing that this contract does, about $1.2 million or so of these dollars have been spent on lodging and travel costs. That has happened, but I think given the expertise that are needed and the plans we're on, this is still the best course of action. But at some point we want to transition from, we're not spending 12 to 14% on travel and lodging costs, that those dollars are going to process the evidence. But at this point in time, I would urge approval of this to allow for stability in the processing of the evidence, and specifically for the next year and a half or so, and look forward to a particular kind of action at a later date in the future from Chairman Hartsburg. Thank you, Mayor.
At the risk of going down in the weeds a little bit, they provide a good service. They really have cornered the market and have hired a lot of the national expertise on latent prints. Salary constraints within the crime lab in the past have not allowed us to compete. I have strongly urged the LGC to bring this expertise in-house and make sure that we have our own core, just as we do in the other forensic disciplines, and I hope that happens. Chair recognizes Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. And what I take issue with is we're really not pulling away from the problems that we have with having HPD involved in the crime lab, and we're doing supposed changes in that, and I don't believe we're really making any real change. I think it's all theater costumes, and we really need to reassess what we're doing here and move wisely forward, because it's just, we're just continuing really status quo is my feeling on the whole thing. Thank you.
Further discussion? Moving to a vote, favoring opposed,
No.
item carries. Councilmember Brown voting no.
That completes the items listed on the agenda.